Okay guys, so I'm just mocking up the height of my intake, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, there's no way that's gonna clear. And then I went and closed the hood. Check that out. It does clear. Oh my gosh, that's so close. Alright, so we have a problem here. Basically, we've got this super heavy intake that's designed to go right over top of the valve cover and connect to this throttle body. But there's no room for that in a Pinto. So there's a common way to fix this. You just spend a lot of money. But here in Private Garage, we don't have a lot of money. So this is your common fix, Stinger Performance. They seem like really awesome guys. I haven't bought anything from them yet, but I'm going to soon. But basically, they will rotate this upper for you. They weld it. They'll also port it, polish it. There's like a bunch of stuff. Check out this core here. There's a bunch of extra material in there that I think those runners do something for low-end torque probably, but we're not interested in that, and we can just make boost. So whatever. So basically, this would be really awesome. And what? It's only 280 bucks, so that seems like a good deal. But once you add shipping, and then you add the polished lettering, I'm not really sure what that is. The E-jar delete, gotta get that. Throttle body opening. And then you realize you have to pick your intake application, which for me is other, because I don't have any of these options. I got a Ranger. Well, I talked to the guy, and he said you need the 120-degree rotation, but then you also have to add additional details, and they basically have to slope it like downwards to avoid the hood, because the hood's coming like that, and so the intake can't be 90. It has to like come down, right? So it's really expensive. It ends up being about $800 US, about $1,000, $1,200 Canadian, which is insane for what we're talking about, especially considering it's really heavy. So I just looked at this now. I want to show you guys how much this thing weighs. Before I do that, I want to show you what my alternative plan is. So I'm thinking of replacing this with this. She'll breathe deep, right? That's a 4-inch shorty 90 pipe. Those are actually pretty hard to find. Not a lot of people are using those. So as opposed to the $1,200 we talked about, this is going to run me about 80 bucks. And because now you can see this isn't quite going to match up, we got to match these flanges here. But happily, I have a CNC plasma cutter. This is actually just 3D printed, but you can check that out. That's about how it's going to sit. It's not quite perfect on those edges you can see, but that's just losses we're going to have to take. I couldn't really make it any better because we had to match this profile, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this guy with this guy. So let's just show the weight comparison quick. It's got the wife's cooking scale here. And just so you can see how heavy this beast is, watch this. Oh, it's 2 kilograms touching the ground actually there. Hold on. There we go. So that is 2.74 kilograms. So for you imperialists out there, 2.74 times 2.22, number on the screen, I'm bad at math, it's probably like 5 pounds. 6 pounds? No, 2. Oh, that's almost 3. Yeah, it's like almost 7 pounds. Anyway, put it on the screen. Editor, fix that. All right, next let's check out our shorty. So standalone, just the shorty, we're at 352 grams. So we're talking like calculating, carry the 6, this number of weight reduction. But that's a bit of a cheat because we are going to be adding weld, and we are going to be adding 2 aluminum flanges. I also need the one that adapts to the throttle, right? Now these plastic ones are going to be a little bit lighter than the aluminum, but they'll be pretty close actually. So we're at 416 grams. Once I have it welded up, I'll do another example. So there's a few different orientations for this, but let's just kind of show you the next step here. All right, so if you can imagine, this basically sits on the intake just like this, and that throttle bolts up to it. But let's get rid of this. Just show you the orientation here. So essentially this goes like this, and on the engine normally, it would sit going over top of the engine. So your valve cover's right there, and it just goes over top. The normal modification, like I said before, is to go 90 degrees like this. So you go out the front through your intercooler and back in. But on the Pinto, there's an alternator there, and you can lower your alternator, but then you don't have power steering or AC, and it's difficult. I'd rather just leave the alternator where I have it. So I'm going to actually rotate it 120 degrees, just like this. And I think I have the footage, so I'll put that up. But basically, the hood barely fits over this, and then it starts sloping down. So we have to come off of this and kind of angle down. But first, we got to connect our throttle. So this throttle plate will bolt on here. Okay. And we're just building the puzzle. Okay, so then we bolt our throttle up next. This is just the throttle I'm using for now. It's the factory one. And the reason I'm doing that is because eventually I do want to upgrade the throttle to a bigger throttle. This is definitely going to be my biggest restriction. But for now, I just want to use the factory ECU, and it requires the factory throttle. Yeah, so I am definitely going to upgrade eventually. But essentially, we're going to use this for now. And I've kind of decided it would be fun, instead of just going straight to 300 horsepower, I thought it'd be fun to run this thing NA for a little bit, just to see how wimpy it is, and like how the turbo motor compares to like a factory 2.3 carbureted Pinto. I just think it'll be entertaining. And I'm also curious to see what the ECU does with no boost. It'll just be like, what's happening? So it should be pretty entertaining. I think it'll work though. So basically, we're going to run no turbo at first. And then we're going to like document each increase in performance, which should be pretty cool. So here we've got, our 90 shorty. Then we've got the throttle. And next, we need to attach it to our throttle position sensor, which is actually called the VAM, variable air meter, I think, or vane air meter. But what you're going to notice, it's heavy. It's so heavy. This normally would connect from here to the turbo, right? This is like the little turbo adapter. That's what I would normally go to. And then the turbo would connect to this. That's not going to work for two reasons. One, we want to go NA. And two, I don't really want to waste my time hooking that up, because I'm also going to get rid of that and go to a map sensor. And so, yeah, whatever. We're going to get rid of that. But I want to just, like I said, just get the car running. Just to get it set up. So I know this might seem like a lot of work to a lot of people, but these two things will not connect to each other. And you can't really get hoses that fit this because it's a weird size, and this is also a weird size. Maybe this one you could find, but this one you definitely can't. So it's like, well, how do I get this to go together? And so I decided I needed to like design an adapter, which is where this next part comes in. All right, so enter my adapter design. So basically, it's going to be hard to control this with one hand. I can't. Whatever. I designed this, and what I'm going to do is just 3D print it. And it's going to serve as a temporary adapter until we ditch our throttle, and then we'll have to change the design again. Here's the finished product. If anybody wants one of these, let me know. Could probably hook you up. But it'll basically just fit on there. I know it doesn't look like it fits, but it does actually fit together. And so we're going to have a nice little intake layout. How cool is that? Bam, that should be good for at least 50 horsepower, maybe 60. We'll see what happens. So a couple little touch-ups to do. Obviously, I've got to CNC cut these, and then like clamp all this together, fit it in the car, run fuel. Minor stuff. But yeah, we're almost there. So pretty excited about this. I'm really excited to show you guys how it goes. And hopefully within the next 1 or 2 videos here, we'll show you the car running.